Okay, I would like to welcome all of you to oral presentation session 4 of the annual conference 2020 of Ceylon College of Physicians. The session will be judged by Professor Inoka Korea, Professor Anuja Premwardhan. The first presentation is oral presentation number 18, number 17, appropriateness of the empirical antimicrobial prescribed for 3 selected infections in cancer patients at a selected hospital. The authors are DMBT Disanayaka, SSN Fernando, CA Vanigatunga. The presenting author today is BAG Chaturanga.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Dinesh Shakam from the Department of Medical Laboratory Sciences, University of Chicago, and I'm here to present the findings of our study titled Appropriateness of the Empirical Antimicrobial Prescribed for 3 selected infections in cancer patients at a selected hospital. Infectious complications are a serious cause of morbidity and mortality in cancer patients. These patients are prone to acquire life-threatening infections due to various risk factors, including underlying disease, neutropenia, and bone marrow failure. So these are the commonly infected anatomical sites in cancer patients. Bloodstream and respiratory tract infections are the most frequent infected. Prophylactic antimicrobial therapy is administered to a majority of cancer patients due to the underlying immune deficiency. When an infection develops in these patients, empirical antimicrobials are given to provide coverage against anticipated pathogens. This extensive use of antibiotics in cancer patients would be a contributory factor to the emergence of resistant bacteria due to antibiotic selective pressure. Considering all those facts, we conducted a study to assess the appropriateness of the empirical antibiotics prescribed for cancer patients with positive culture results for 3 selected infections. Our aim was to determine whether the empirical therapy matches with the subsequent culture findings. The study was conducted in Apeksha Hospital from June 2018 to February 2019, and we obtained ethical clearance from the Ethics Review Committee, Faculty of Medical Sciences, University of Jawaharlal. Permission to conduct the study was obtained from the Director of Apeksha Hospital and from the Deputy Director General of Health Services. We collected bacterial isolates from the positive cultures from patients, from adult cancer patients who were diagnosed by attending clinicians to have lower respiratory tract, skin and soft tissue, and urinary tract infections, and for whom empirical antibiotic therapy was indicated. We excluded the isolates from positive cultures of the patients for whom empirical antibiotic therapy has not been recommended, and also we excluded the isolates of patients who were on empirical therapy for more than 48 hours prior to specimen collection. Cultures from intensive care patients were also excluded. And this was the workflow of our study. First, we identified the positive cultures which fulfilled the inclusion criteria, and then we selected and subcultured the pathogen to identify them up to the species level. Then we carried out the antibiotic susceptibility tests according to the CLSI criteria. Patient demographic data and the data regarding antibiotic use were extracted from the patient's clinical records and bed death records. Empirical therapy was defined as appropriate if the isolated pathogen was susceptible in vitro to the prescribed antibiotic. Let's move on to the results. A total of 155 bacterial isolates originated from 148 consecutive patients were studied. Lower respiratory tract infections predominated in this study group, followed by urinary tract infections and the skin and soft tissue infections. Mean age of the patient group was 52.17, proportion of males was 52.7. 62.2% of patients had solid tumors, while the rest had hematological malignancy. Oral cancers and colorectal cancers were the most frequent solid tumors, and the most frequent hematological malignancy was acute myeloid leukemia. So this graph shows the spectrum of isolated bacteria Klebsiella pneumoniae predominated in lower respiratory tract infections. E. coli and Staphylococcus aureus predominated respectively in UTI and skin and soft tissue infections. And nearly 60% of the isolated pathogens are belongs to family Enterobacteriaceae, or we know them as polyforms. So these polyforms showed their higher susceptibility for amikacin, and the lower susceptibility was seen for amoxicillin clavulanic acid. ESBL production was detected in 20% of the polyforms. 41.1% of the polyforms were resistant to carbapenem antibiotics. This graph shows the susceptible proportion of Enterobacteriaceae or polyforms according to the type of infection. And from this, we can see that the susceptible proportion does not vary greatly depending on the type of infection. Meropenem was the most commonly prescribed empirical antibiotic for lower respiratory tract infection and skin and soft tissue infection. And for UTI, it was ceftazidime. Nearly 50% of the bacterial isolates were resistant to the given empirical antibiotic. And this graph shows the appropriateness of the empirical therapy. Nearly 20% of both UTI and LRTI, nearly 20% of the bacteria isolated from UTI and LRTI were sensitive to the given empirical antibiotic. And this proportion is the bacteria which was resistant to the given empirical antibiotic. And the yellow color corresponds to the bacteria against which the given empirical antibiotic did not have the spectrum of activity. So in conclusion, a considerable proportion of isolated bacteria in this study showed resistance against the empirical antibiotics. Continuous surveillance is essential as pathogens and susceptibility patterns change over time, and accordingly, empirical antibiotic treatment should be modified to suit for the existing spectrum of bacteria and the susceptibility pattern. We acknowledge the financial support provided by the University of Sri Jayewardenepura, and also we acknowledge the support given by consultant microbiologists and the staff of the microbiology laboratory at the Apeksha Hospital. Thank you.
We now have 2 minutes for questions and answers. If you just wear your headphones, you can hear what sir has to ask.
Prof. Anuja, shall I start? Anuja, shall I start? Okay. Just a question from you. As you know, very often it's very difficult to sample some of these sites and be sure that you are obtaining the pathogen from the site and not a commensal, not a colonizer. How did you all ensure the fact that these are, a good sample?
Yes, madam.
Representative of the disease.
Yes, actually, we collected the isolates from the identified, the microbiologists in the hospital. First, they identified the pathogen, and from that, we collected the specimen, and we looked at the pus cells.
So did you collect the specimen from the patient, or who collected the specimen?
No, madam. We
So
collect
my question is, the specimens have to be collected extremely carefully to sample the actual site. So it's a UTI, you have to sample the bladder urine, not urethra or lower respiratory tract. You should sample the lower respiratory tract and not the mouth. Did you all do anything to make sure that the sampling was done?
When we consider the sputum, we just look at the pus cells and stuff. But when if you consider the urinary tract specimens and the wound swabs, there was no criteria to assess whether the specimen is appropriate. Anyway, we did not handle any specimens. We collect the isolates which was available in the laboratory in communication with the consultant microbiologist there.
Right. So that's a limitation because you are not sure whether this is your sampling is correct. The other thing is, you said that you excluded those who had been treated with antibiotics for 48 hours.
Yeah, we excluded, madam. Yes.
But what if they had been given antibiotics previous to that? Because these are patients who have been in hospitals for long periods of time.
Yeah, because we excluded the if they were on antibiotics for more than 48 hours, we excluded because it will change their microbiota.
Yeah, I understand that. But what if they had been on antibiotics the previous week? that also might have contributed.
Yeah, we didn't consider that, madam. We didn't consider that.
Those are
and
the two
that-
things that could affect the results
Yes,
of your
yes,
study.
yes, of
Prof.
course.
Anuja, would you like to ask a question?
Yeah, I don't think it's a surprising thing. Were you surprised that in the respiratory infections, there was no strep pneumoniae, Haemophilus influenzae? The organism was Pseudomonas, or rather
Yes.
Klebsiella.
Yes, sir. The predominant organism was Klebsiella, sir, and it could be due to improper sample collection and it was very difficult to identify pneumonia in the laboratory setting if they do not handle the sample properly. So
Or
that
is
could
that
be
the reason, or do you think it's due to a community acquired versus hospital acquired? Do you think that's the reason?
that could be another reason, sir, because the Klebsiella pneumoniae we isolated, they're almost sensitive to, they're almost resistant to all the antibiotics except for amikacin. So that they could have come from hospital setting. Yes.
And that is, I didn't see any organism, the common respiratory pathogens in your list at all. So, that's kind of suggesting, what Prof. Inoka said, that these patients had been in the hospital for quite a long time. So that is, I think, an important thing.
Yes.
Okay,
Sir.
thank you. Thanks.
One final question: how would you apply this? What is the main application of this study?
Sorry, madam?
Main application of this study for clinical practice. What would you recommend?
Yes, we wanted to highlight the increasing rates of antibiotic resistance, and then we actually wanted to quantify the findings, because now normally such findings are not readily available.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.